Hey, y'all. This is Frank the Bigfoot, and you're listening to the Paranormal Punchers.
Hey, friends! Who's ready to get weird? It's time for another Paranormal Punchers. I'm Mark.
I'm Alicia.
I'm Nash.
I think I'm Dave.
Hey, back from the Hollow Earth.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah,
If I am who I say I am.
that's right.
Oh, okay. I see how it is. I
Yeah.
see how it is. This is going to be a fun show. This could be one of those weird shows because our topic is the Montauk Project, Camp Hero in Montauk, New York. The weird conspiracy theory that inspired Stranger Things.
Yep.
Yep.
And I tell you, this could go down like an infinite amount of rabbit holes. So this could be a very, very fun show.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Buckle up. Here we go.
Buckle up. Before we get to all that weirdness, as always, little listener feedback brought to you by Living Among Bigfoot, the only book series about Bigfoot that drops the 15th of every month on Amazon.
That's a very nice way to say
Nice.
Amazon
Yeah.
there. That was pretty slick.
Liz, you read the last installment, and it was...
It was good.
Very nice.
You highly recommend it?
Nice.
Yeah, I do, actually. I think it's a really good series, so.
Sweet. All right, we heard from... Why are you laughing, Dave?
Because I can.
We heard from Martin from San Antonio, Texas.
Oh, right
If you
on.
guys remember, Martin's the one who's in love with Alicia.
Oh, hey, there you go. All right.
He says, "What's up, guys? Thanks for the shout-out. Y'all should do a show on Texas. We got it all.
Oh.
Ghost cows in Brownsville, Texas.
Ghost cows, right
Yeah,
on.
I know, right? Ghost children in San Antonio.
Nope.
And an alien base in the Gulf of Mexico.
Okay.
Well, there has to be.
And he says, and I love you all. Don't be upset, guys. My wife already kicked my ass. LOL.
Aw.
Love the show. Keep it up and research all these. Martin from San Antonio, Texas.
Ghost cows.
Ghost cows.
That's
I know.
awesome.
Those guys. Yeah.
What
Ghost
are
cows. And I like how Martin's like, dude, here's your homework.
Do it.
Go look at he had me at Ghost Cows.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, no, he had me that he loves us all.
Yes.
Well, ghost children are definitely spooky, but I would
we
love.
won't do ghost children.
Yeah, no.
What if there's ghost children riding ghost cows? Now,
Oh.
Dave, what do you think of that?
I guess it depends if the ghost children are controlling the ghost cows or the ghost cows are simply means of transport for ghost children or something. I don't know.
Would that be like a ghost rodeo?
Because I don't want any kind
ride.
of
Do they do 8
ghost
seconds?
child in control of anything. They freak me out.
Yeah.
And the alien base in the Gulf of Mexico, that's certainly intriguing.
Yeah.
Yes. It seems like it would be there anyway. At this point, it seems like, well, why wouldn't it be there? But ghost cows?
Why not?
Why not? I mean, they're everywhere now. Apparently, they're everywhere.
I'm intrigued that Dave was like,
Maybe the ghost
what
cows.
if the ghost children are so they can mind control ghost cows?
Yeah.
That's too funny.
Wow.
I love
Well,
it.
like, I mean, okay, so
What's
like,
in your beer?
at this point, I don't even know. But think of it like the Lord of the Rings with the goblins that ride the wolf things, wargs, whatever. There the goblins are control, but the wargs are just the vehicle they're riding type of thing. So there, the children are the intelligent whatever.
Right. Now you got me thinking of a field full of ghost children mounted on ghost cows,
Yeah.
ready to ride into town and
Yes.
destroy it.
Yeah, with
Now that sounds terrifying.
Ride of the Valkyries in the background.
Oh, and it's just kind of slow, you know?
Yeah,
Oh,
no, that
no.
sounds awful.
Now,
Here they come.
But what if
Oh.
the secret alien base is murdering cattle, and those cattle are turning into ghosts, and that's the ghost cows?
And then the ghost children are riding those cows to destroy the alien base to get
Yeah.
revenge
Yes.
Oh,
on
right.
what they did to said cattle.
Yes.
Well, now we got a movie.
Yeah.
Wow, that's like the ghost horde in Lord of the Rings, or is that the White Walkers? What was it in Game of Thrones? Weren't there ghosts or whites or something like that?
In
Whites.
Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
White
were
Walkers?
White
White
Walkers.
Walkers.
Yeah, did they come and attack or the whole nine yards? I mean,
These are the milk
but these are
walkers?
good we're saying that they would be the good ones because they're attacking the aliens who are.
Would that be low-fat milk?
I didn't get that one.
I don't. Yeah.
Ghost cows?
Ghost cows. The utter strutters.
No,
Yeah. Giving like ghost milk?
Yep.
But,
Yep.
oh,
Sorry.
I was like, non-fat milk. That's non-fat milk. right
0
there.
calories in ghost milk.
That's exactly right. I
Drink it all day.
No lactose either.
You're lactose free.
Not free.
Promise to never quench your thirst.
Right. Okay.
Well, hey, thanks, Martin.
Yeah. Let's steer this one back on the highway.
Yeah. Let's steer this ghost cow back on the highway here. Hold on.
We heard from Cassandra. Love this podcast and the people behind it. Perfect mix of weird, fun, and facts. If it ain't weird, it ain't worth checking out. Thank you, Cassandra.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Thank you.
And we heard from, I guess maybe this is on Twitter or Instagram, Violets Are Blue with 2 E's. So I'm assuming it's Violets Are Blue.
How did that go again?
Blue. Violets are blue. I don't know.
Either way.
And they say,
Have you gotten the name right yet?
hell yeah, I got Cassandra
Yeah,
right.
Cassandra, right? Nice.
And Martin, come on.
Right.
Dyatlov.
Hey, I did get the outlaw right. Violets are bluey. They say, hey guys, love the Wendigo podcast. I don't know if any of you play console games, but a few years ago, a game called Until Dawn came out. It's about a Native American curse for mining on sacred land, and the main antagonist, Wendigos, of course. The storyline is incredible, and there are so many different aspects of paranormal involved. Definitely a cool game to check out for more insight on the Wendigo lore. Keep being cool, y'all. Thanks, Violets Are Blue.
Yeah, I'll search it out. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, and I like I like the whole idea. And I feel like Cass at Mood Duck had mentioned that game.
She did, yeah.
Yeah,
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn.
Okay, cool.
Until Dawn. We heard from John from England. What? I got pretty excited. I just wanted to say a big thank you to you all the way from a tiny village in England, one of those places that only appears in the mist every 200 years.
Oh, awesome.
Nice.
Wow.
Paranormal Punchers is so much fun to listen to, and the perfect antidote to weeks of trawling through spreadsheets at work. You guys are awesome. Keep up the amazing work. And he had P.S. Happy 4th of July. That's when he wrote it.
Nice.
That'd be trolling?
Question. If
No, trawling. Trawling. I thought maybe it's a...
Trolling.
Trolling.
So if a village only appears every 200 years,
It's Shambhala.
and this village, the villagers, they show up after 200 years. They last were around in 1819.
Right.
And as they appear, the first thing that they hear is some radio, I don't know, playing.
The Wendigo podcast.
No, Paranormal Punchers podcast. What would they think? What if we were their first human interaction in 200 years? Would we be
The deities. We would basically be the overlords. Yeah, we would be the ruling faction.
That's how you look at it?
I do.
Or
I'm
would they
afraid I do.
Would they turn around and head back into the mist?
Well,
They would probably do
be. That could be. I'm just thinking about.
What if they'd be like, they know too much? No, they would never say that.
No.
But if you were in the mist for 200 years, and then you came out of the mist, what would be the first thing that you would do?
Get a beer.
Yes, because you'd want new stuff, wouldn't you? I would do go shopping or something. You'd want to consume as much current
You think
events
they would
as
have
possible.
the
Well,
cash?
I guess it would. We're turning this into a whole episode.
Yeah,
Hey, thanks for John from England. We got a whole new episode
It
happening.
depends if you know it's been 200 years or not.
that's true.
If you
To the
think
people, who knows?
if you think it was you went to bed one night and you wake up 200 years later, you don't know the difference, then you're expecting, I'm going to go out and milk the cow or, fight in the revolution or whatever.
right.
Whatever war is going on. And so you wouldn't know to do any of that. If you knew it was 200 years
Right.
cycle,
Right.
then, of course, you would be like...
You'd have
okay.
a parade for it and the whole 9 yards, and the mist would separate.
So
and
I
they'd
guess
be
it
like,
depends on the...
go get them, Tiger. Let's all use our cell phones. They wouldn't even know about cell phones. You wouldn't know about anything. My goodness, computers or anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Woo.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Sean, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate the feedback.
There's a few beers in there. Sorry.
Don't feed the Dave and the Nash.
Yeah,
That's right.
we heard from Andrew. He says, "You guys seem to like ghost adventures." No, I almost feel like,
Yeah.
is that?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys seem to like ghost adventures. They came to my town and investigated an old hospital called Nopeming, Nopeming. Nopeming. Nopeming Sanatorium. Have never been there myself, but I want to. Apparently, it is super haunted and creepy. Never heard of it, but obviously it's on the list.
Right.
Nope, Ming.
Nopeming. Nopeming.
Okay. I never heard of it before. That's pretty interesting. That's,
Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
We heard from, on Instagram, Art Designs 305. And they said, I'm 800 on your Instagram. Woo! I love your show. I listen to it all the time. I'm located in Miami, Florida.
Oh.
Keeps my day going smooth. Tell your crew I said hi. Hi. Hello.
Hi.
If you ever make it down here, check out an area called Wynwood. W-Y-N Wood. Wynwood. It's all local craft beers, art shops, coffee bars. I don't know. It sounds pretty cool.
Yeah,
Sounds nice.
I'm on my way.
Thanks, Art Designs 305.
I wonder if it's pretty humid down there right now.
It's humid up
always humid,
here.
right?
I think all the humidity's up here right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it left the south. And
I think they definitely follow the rules of the sun's out, buns out. So I'm just saying, when if we go down there, it's all chaps.
It's all butts.
It's all chaps everywhere you go.
What?
Why would it be chaps? Like
Assless chaps.
Who would wear assless chaps? But the whole front of your legs are covered in leather.
Because
Yeah.
it sun's
Seems
out,
non-productive to humidity.
It's sun's out, buns out.
There's better ways than using chaps.
Tell us about that, Mark.
Thongs.
Okay. I will concede and I will say, okay, right on. I stand corrected.
I mean, it's only a suggestion.
Just because you wore one today doesn't mean
I wear
anything,
one
Mark.
every day.
Nice.
No, I don't.
I'm pretty sure at this point we can't find the highway.
That's right. It's right here somewhere.
We're driving through the middle of the woods, just trying to avoid hitting a tree. Okay. We heard from Christina at Mrs. Red Show on Twitter. Been saving this for today. She in reference to our Wendigo episode.
Okay.
Today's chemo day, and now I have something fun to listen to. Love you all.
Wow. Holy moly. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Christina, I hope you're doing well.
Thank you so much. The after chemo, oh my gosh, you can do it. Stay strong. I know it's a bear to get through, but you can do it. And if we can help you with that, fantastic. Just stay strong. You can do it.
And then maybe after this episode, you're just going to turn it off. I don't know. We wish you well.
Definitely.
Yes, we do.
All right, we got a 5-star review on the old Apple podcast from KWRN BSNCEN.
Wow.
Just listened to the Lemp Mansion episode and loved it. I have an overnight stay planned at Lemp next month for my birthday.
Ooh.
Happy pre-birthday.
Yeah.
I hope to experience something firsthand. They actually let their guests have access to the entire house all night long after the staff leave.
Oh my gosh.
Can't wait. Keep doing what you're doing. Well, you don't want to see what Dave's doing right now.
They only let you have access to the part that's been discovered. Just saying.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you mean the tunnels under Lemp Mansion?
Right.
I don't know if they're going to get access to the tunnels.
Yeah.
And even if they do, only the discovered parts. It's up to you to find all the secret doors.
Oh boy.
That's right.
Can you imagine going through there once all the staff leaves and you have full access to the whole place?
I mean, you could be doing EVP sessions all over the place.
Oh my
Spirit box
gosh.
sessions.
That would be absolutely almost
I
horrifying.
mean, I guess you could throw a party.
You could do whatever. Jeez, just think of the fun you could have. Right?
Find a quiet corner and play Xbox by myself.
I'm just saying.
Well, KWRNB and BSNCEN. Please let us know how your trip goes.
Yes.
You're now K-Dubs for short.
That's right.
That's a lot
exactly.
easier.
Yeah, that's a
I was
whole
going to
lot of
say,
letters.
we need a lot more feedback from you just to hear Mark say that the whole time.
WNBC. We heard from Moves Like Jaggers. And another 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Bomb.com, they said. Hey, guys. I'm still fairly new to this podcast, but I am in love. I always listen to the podcast while processing claims at work. I can't tell you how many times I've literally laughed out loud and had the whole office looking at me. But I don't care because I love the podcast. I love all your different personalities, which I honestly feel make the show.
Yeah.
I am a card-holding member of the Yeti Squad.
Right on.
But this is also, Moves Like Jagger said I don't have to read this, but I'm going to read it. Nobody tells me I can't read something.
That's exactly right. You go, girl.
So there's this guy on Etsy that makes amazing patches, like the Yeti, Skunk Ape, Sasquatch, and other paranormal patches and stickers. I believe his name is George Coghill. If you read this on the pod, please don't feel obligated to include all of this. I just thought you would enjoy his work like I do. You guys should check him out. He's great. Thanks again, guys, and keep up the great work. And Moves Like Jaggers, I did check him out. And it's the Monsterologist on Etsy. And his patches are badass.
Yeah, they're
Wow.
pretty much badass. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, find him on Etsy. But what that did, and I looked at these patches, I'm like, well, clearly we got to have a patch, right?
Yeah.
I know.
Like a members patch or
we do.
a P-Punchers Nation patch.
Yes.
We're going to make a patch.
We have to.
I know.
We have to.
We're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's a claims processor. Oh, thank you so much. You're the unsung hero. Thank you so much for processing those claims.
Ooh, Moves Like Jaggers.
Wow. Wow.
What? Like, whatever. And, we have more feedback, but I'm going to save it for the second half because I am far too excited to get into this topic of this episode. So just a little, Chromos, our buddy Will, Christina has a story, Meg has some stuff for us. We're going to save that for the second half.
Nice.
That's some really fun stuff.
Okay.
So thank you so very much. If you would like to reach out to us, paranormalpunchers.com. You just fill out that little form there. Send us a message. Or paranormalpunchers@gmail.com. Don't forget we have a store. paranormalpunchers.com/shop. You can get some stickers, a comic book, T-shirts, whatever. It all helps the show.
Yeah, all kinds of swag.
All right. Enough of that. We're going to get into, well, my dog's barking upstairs at something.
Yeah.
Hope it's not a ghost.
It's a ghost cow.
We are going to talk about Camp Hero, Montauk, New York. I feel like I've referred to it as the Montauk Project,
Yep.
which might have actually been the original name of Stranger Things.
Right.
Because this concept here inspired that story. So, quick tips before I turn it over to Lish, though. Montauk is on the eastern tip of Long Island. Well, that's how I do it.
I know.
All right. It's on the eastern tip of Long Island. It was a Air Force base shut down in 1981. Now, the conspiracy part is that supposedly there was mind control done there, time travel done there.
Time travel, yep.
Aliens were hanging out there.
Yep.
People being kidnapped, experimented on. It is some crazy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to throw it out. I don't think that's a ghost. I think that's the Men in Black.
Where?
They're coming to get us.
Oh, boy.
We're talking
That
about.
would mean that the dog's barking at?
Yeah.
I knew if I kept talking about the Montauk.
The black choppers are coming down. The black helicopters are coming down right now. Nice.
It's just kind of appropriate.
They're trying to beat down the door right now. Don't talk about
If this transmission ends, they've taken us. Resist.
If you find us, we'll be at Funk Brewing having a beer.
Lish, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about Camp Hero?
All right. So, actually, pre-1942, so like even in the 1700s,
Okay.
there was a Fort Hero there.
Okay.
They believed that it was a possibility for ships to land and come into, and well, you know what I mean.
You're talking about foreign ships like the Navy of a different country kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why they always had something there. They wanted to keep an eye on the ocean and
Right.
who was coming into America.
This is the easternmost point of Long Island.
Yes.
So that it's a good, as you're following the coast, you find this island, you see, good lookout spot. That's why.
Yes, exactly. They thought it was a good spot to be able to see what was coming. They even put a lighthouse there at the very tip in 1792, I believe.
Okay.
So yeah, they put in a big satellite.
The giant satellite.
Yes.
Yes.
In 1958, and they called it SAGE, the Semi-Automatic Ground Environment, which was a radar system.
That's what they say.
Right. But this was apparently a major part of the NORAD defense system.
Okay.
So, yeah, they were always looking to make sure that we were not going to get invaded. They thought it was a good spot for people to come in. So they were always like, let's make sure Air Force, Army, everybody is here just to make sure nothing's coming in.
Now, you had said that they were part of NORAD?
Well, the radar system that they put in, which was called SAGE,
Oh, yeah?
that was part of the NORAD defense system.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay.
Now, what happened was in 1980, SAGE was actually shut down. I think it was considered that it was outdated.
Yeah.
So they moved everything somewhere else. But
So was it shut down publicly, or was it we found out later that it was shut down in the 80s?
you know what? I didn't write that one down.
Okay.
So I'm not sure, but
Either way.
either way, it was shut down. The antenna was abandoned in place.
Okay.
I think they took out all the moving parts of it, or so
Well,
they said.
I'm just, if the government's going to do something, they're going to make it look like one thing
Right.
and do another.
Right.
Well, and this is a prime place for that exact theory.
The ground air transmitter receiver. They called it Gator.
Gator.
That remained in service to direct military aircraft operating within the region.
Right.
But it was deactivated in 1984. So basically, yeah, after 1984, the base was closed and it was sold to New York State. And it became the Camp Hero State Park. I think that was in the 90s, though.
Right.
But that's the basic history of this area.
Super
This-
basic history.
I know. This is
It's not even a fun history part.
no,
It's like-
this is the history that the government wants you to know about. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. That
Yes.
makes sense.
And I think what that does then is open up for what we can talk about now.
So with the conspiracy theorist, all right. So people believe there's actually an elaborate underground base.
Yes.
Yes.
Underneath this, similar to Dulce Base.
Well, and that's where I was kind of going with it, saying that it was part of NORAD, because NORAD was attached to Dulce Base NORAD's in Colorado.
We also, but this is pretty far away from that.
Well, right, but we also theorized that.
Elaborate underground tunnel system all
Yes.
throughout the world.
Yes.
I have more on that later.
Did you just call me a moron?
No.
Wow.
Max.
I have moron later.
Yeah,
That's
dude,
pretty harsh right at the get go.
That was a straight up dad joke, right?
Wow,
Yeah.
it
You get
was.
5
That
points.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. 1d6.
5 points for that,
damage.
yeah. Good job. Good job. So people think or theorize that there's this elaborate underground base that
Yes.
is used for all these experiments.
Correct.
The experiments ranging from mind control, time travel.
Yep.
Mind you. Now, time travel, going to back into the BC era,
I thought.
but also travel to Mars.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
so it's
in the
not
future.
just time travel. It's
It's
also like a gate, like a Stargate,
like Doctor
Stargate.
Who almost.
You could travel to another
Yeah.
planet and cut down all that time it takes in a rocket ship.
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
Right.
Because I don't know about you guys, but I came across distant BC, distant AD,
Wow.
and Mars.
Oh, okay.
So it was kind of like I thought of it almost like a TARDIS kind of situation, because you could travel throughout time, but you could also do location within a time.
Right.
And that's what the TARDIS can do.
Yeah.
So
there are so many things that happen in
I know. I know.
underneath this base.
Right.
If you believe in the underground base. I don't even know where to begin.
I know.
But Lish, what is on your notes there? Do you got like a headline?
Yeah, you got to keep us on the rails on this one.
Somebody needs to keep us on the rails because I'm about to jump the track and drive down into the lake and do a whole bunch of stuff there.
Pee on the third rail.
Yeah, about to pee on the third rail.
So, one of the guys that we're going to talk about, Alfred Bielik, he actually, I found his website.
What?
Yeah, I found a website that he has. It's definitely something that was made early 90s.
So it's not mobile-friendly.
It's not good.
Okay.
But anyway,
Does it have a marquee? Flashing kittens on the sides?
well, there's some, yeah.
Dancing alien.
Right. Anyway, he mentioned that he actually lived in California and worked in California, but he would go underground into this tunnel, and the tunnel would transport him to Montauk. And he would do all of his work in Montauk, but he would travel back
From California.
Yes. So I was like, oh my God, that's kind of like
Our transit system that we came up with. Yeah.
So wait, is this how Elon Musk is doing the Hyperloop?
I don't know.
Whoa! Don't even go there. Hold on, Dave. Reel it back in. Wow. So he would end up in Montauk on a daily basis, or
I believe so. Now,
what's that commute like? Is there a toilet on that thing?
he was an
don't think you need
electric
it.
engineer.
Is it like a bus?
Okay. He was one of the people that helped implement these manipulations. Like, he was like a programmer for the Montauk Boys. Mm-hmm. So basically,
he was also involved with the Philadelphia experiment, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He was on the USS Eldridge.
Yes. Now, that was back in...
That's what I'm telling you.
But
everything surrounding Camp Hero, it's strange.
But
it is.
But every point that you just said about the USS Eldridge, that has its own thing associated with it.
So they were doing cloaking.
Yes, but that was
it
later.
kind of sent him in time travel.
Yeah,
he jumped over the side, so he claims.
Yeah, that's what he
And
claimed.
when he surfaced in the water, he was off the point of Montauk.
Exactly.
Right.
And then he ended up working there.
Right.
Well, right, but that. So, I think that's too far ahead. We got to.
I don't even know how you go too far ahead.
know.
Everything that's going to come out of my mouth is going to be bizarre. Everything is so bizarre.
I know. Well, that's the thing with time travel is
wibbly-wobbly.
nothing ever makes sense.
Right.
There's
Wibbly
always
wobbly.
holes-
It's timey-wimey.
Timey-wimey. Wibbly wobbly.
But anyway, but yeah, he was talking about how he would travel from California to Montauk, New York. So coast to coast.
Right.
In this underground tunnel transport system, but it would be very fast. It's not like it would take a little time to get across.
Like when you go to the bank.
Yeah, it was almost like it was a portal.
Like the
the drive-through thing.
Yeah, the drive-through thing. The tube goes away.
So can I talk about Hyperloop now or not?
Right.
You told me to wait. What am I waiting for?
That's right.
Now, one of the things I want to try to get us
I know.
back here in a starting point.
I know.
Is the starting point California or
No, hey, I don't know.
maybe it's Kansas?
But now, you had mentioned Bielik.
Yes.
He was involved in some of the stuff they were doing at Montauk, at Camp Hero. They were working on, what do you call that? Psychic warfare.
Yes.
Trying to develop ways, even ways for soldiers to be able to project psychic imagery.
Psionics.
Psionics.
Yeah.
So if I was going in and I was fighting Dave, I could make him think he sees something else and freak him out.
Right.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to do that.
Why?
You know it's not a good idea.
I don't know how I know.
Dave is not susceptible to Jedi mind tricks. Just letting you know.
Okay. So they were working on that, but they were doing this. They were experimenting with these psychic programs on the homeless.
Yeah.
They were just kidnapping people off the street.
Yeah.
Right.
Now that shouldn't sound far fetched,
Right.
considering we know the U.S. government has admitted to some of the awful tests they have done.
MK
They've done
Ultra.
some really
MK
awful
Ultra,
stuff. Yeah.
the syphilis.
Yep.
So it really didn't shock me when I found that they were just kidnapping homeless
Right.
off the street to run these tests on them. Now, but the crazy it's all crazy. Did you guys look up? Part of their psychic program was what they called the Montauk chair.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So I found the Montauk chair, and I do want to say that it sounded like the Montauk Project was first based off of a CIA assassination project called, Phoenix 1.
Okay.
And the Montauk Project was actually Phoenix 2 off of it was based off of a classified create these assassins. So that's what led them to Montauk.
Jason Bourne?
I don't think so. I think it
No,
might
but
be.
the Montauk boys will get there. They're like
yes.
Jason Bourne. Get back to this
Okay.
Phoenix thing.
Okay. So and that was in like 1971. So that was when after after the big radar thing got installed. It was a little bit after that. But that's about the time where they were like, you know what, we need to do this. And that's when they started experimenting with the whole chair thing, the Montauk chair. So they discovered that the antennas that they have could be used for, what was it? Everything was an incremental process. So they discovered that they could alter people's moods by this source of this giant radar, this giant antenna, the SAGE antenna. So then they found this dude. What was the guy's name? The main guy who was in the chair.
Oh, Cameron.
Yes,
Duncan Cameron.
Duncan Cameron. That he
was the lead psychic.
Yeah, he was
like the best.
He was the best of the best of the best. Yeah. So he was in this chair and found out that he could do all these crazy things in this chair, but the chair that he operated in was the second chair.
Right. There was 2 chairs.
There was 2 chairs.
We keep using this word. You keep using this word chair. I don't know if you know it. I don't think it means what you think it means. Obviously, any chair. Okay, so with this chair, they were using to enhance psychic abilities.
Yes.
I visually think
Now I'm
Cerebro.
talking like
Cerebro. That's
Cerebro,
what
like Cerebro.
Yeah.
Obviously, but what I want to lead to is like they're using like probably alien technology to
Yes.
make this chair.
That was the first chair.
because they were working on. Supposedly they did use this chair to be able to think about a bottle of beer, hypothetically,
Right.
and have it manifest
That was one of the things that
in
they could do.
the real world.
Yes.
Now, save that because they manifested something much more.
I
awful.
know, and I'm so excited.
Keep going.
So they found the first chair. Now this was on the research that I did. They kind of glossed over this little point that was giant in my eyes. Was that the chair, the Montauk chair, was that what's his name was in Duncan Cameron was that he was the second chair, but the first chair was a direct creation from the base's interaction with alien technology.
Yes.
That's how they created the first chair, but the first chair was like too powerful or something like that. It didn't function the way that they were hoping. It did.
They had to. I feel like I read somewhere that they had to build a second chair because it worked. Like they worked better
different.
together
Yes.
or something, right?
Yeah, it was like the first chair was more alien tech, so it worked better with aliens and not so much with humans.
Right.
The second one was more human built, so it was more towards.
They're still powered by alien tech.
Yeah.
I mean, because this chair is also used to psychically project yourself.
You could do all kinds of craziness with this thing.
Yeah.
And, way they're describing, like, the tunnel when you're doing the psychic projection, I'm like, is this also where the movie Stargate got some of its ideas? Because
maybe.
there is a Project Stargate, by the way. But it has nothing to do with traveling to other pyramids.
So I'm going to play the D&D character asking the DM, describe the chair some more, because I'm not really picturing this.
Well,
Thanks, Dave. That's a really good question.
now see, I don't know what you guys came across, but I came across the chair from Cerebro, or kind of a mix between that and the chair from John Wick.
But what does the chair, I mean, is the chair made of alien materials, or is it an amplifier, or is it just comfy so you can relax?
I think we should reach out to some of the designers.
Lazy Boy?
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, seriously, I can project myself in Lazy Boy.
At any time.
That didn't go the way.
Wow. Wow.
That's the thing. That's the thing. It, nobody knows, or nobody's saying 100% for sure they know what it was. They just know it was alien technology.
Right.
Whatever it was made from, whatever they attached to their head with the little things you put
proby
on.
things, little
proby
sensors.
things.
Yeah.
So it's an amplification
so it
device.
definitely didn't look like one of those low back chairs you sit on the beach on. It wasn't a Montauk chair.
Okay.
It was definitely something. Just even like some concept pictures that I found on the internet, I was like, kind of looks like an electric chair.
So it's more of it's like an amplification device for your mental capacity, but it also has it injects you with the signals from that radar dish to keep you to affect your mood. So it's an input-output device.
I don't know if it was input though,
but
or if it was
you're getting
just
what's from the radar system.
I feel like the chair was able to take his brain, the brain waves, and download them.
Yeah,
digitize them almost.
Maybe digitize them with Johnny Mnemonic. I don't know. And then when they were able to change the frequency, then they could manifest his thoughts.
But
I don't know what they
control his thoughts based on how the radar dish was.
No, this wasn't about thought control. They were experimenting on using their mind to manifest.
So it wasn't about him controlling his emotions. It was all about him projecting his mind.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
But this now I don't know if I'm completely, because I know you're actually telling more.
No,
she's waiting to jump in.
Yeah,
I can tell.
But that was my question. Did Duncan come after them discovering that they could control moods and thoughts with the Sage antenna? Because the original thing that I came across was that they discovered, from one way or another, that it was going in the range of 425 to 450 megahertz, which was mood altering. So they could, just from the signal created by the giant tower.
Wait, megahertz? No, that's not right. That can't be right.
Stand by.
That's too high of a frequency. What you'll find is in the 400 hertz range.
No, megahertz. 425 to 450 megahertz range, in order to penetrate human consciousness, making a person susceptible to mind control.
But no, if you in the hertz range, not megahertz range, you'll find that's where a lot of the scientific explanations for when you go into a haunted asylum, whatever.
Okay.
You've got machinery there running in a certain certain hertz range, not megahertz,
to pick up on it.
And you're getting these signals from the machinery, and it causes psychosis and delusions and hallucinations. And that's where they say the scientific explanation for a lot of ghosts come from. But it's in the megahertz range. You're in a radio signal where cell phones and microwaves and all that operate.
Right.
That range is not we use that range every day.
Yeah. You know why, dude?
Yeah.
I didn't want to jump on this too soon, but we're going to come back to this. They were working on mind control and the reptilians, and what you were talking about, the frequencies we use for cell phone.
Right.
What?
You go, Mark.
No,
go,
I just feel
Mark.
There's your mind control. People can't pull their faces out of their phone.
Yeah,
they achieved it, but we'll save that for later. So Nash, back to those.
Yeah,
back to the megahertz.
Yeah. So I didn't look at the actual timelines, but I was thinking that the chair was created after the discovery of them realizing that the giant Sage antenna could actually control people's moods. So they're like, okay, there's something here. Let's get with our friends, the aliens, who we have this chair, we have this thing to do this. Because I'm thinking incremental steps.
Right.
You wouldn't just dive into mind control and psionic warfare without baby steps to get there.
Well, what if they weren't friends, aliens? What if they were not friends and they came in and told the government, you're going to do this to your people?
Right.
That's true. And it very well could be. But still, we're not going to just jump in. We're going to be like, okay, well, we know for a fact that we can change the mood of the townsfolk and the people around this just by doing this on our dial, because we have this gigantic Sage antenna it's going at such a frequency that it's altering people's moods. So they're like, yes, you guys need to catch up on this because we're doing this next. Here we go.
Yeah.
We're going to create this chair because we need this to happen. I don't know. That's the way I didn't really come across a timetable on that, but I was always thinking that incremental steps is how you get, baby steps is how you get to where you're going. So I always think that the first step would have been the mood enhancement.
I definitely agree with you. I think that if we were doing this on our own, baby steps make sense.
Right.
If we were following some sort of an advanced,
it might be something a little different
on our own.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, imagine the government.
Where have you been the last couple of weeks, Dave?
Imagine the government wants to control its own people. They're going to do it at baby steps because they're treading on uncharted territory.
Right.
But imagine that there's an extraterrestrial
overseeing the whole project.
Overseeing the whole project. I don't think you need to do baby steps then. I think they already have it figured out.
You're just kind of directing things.
So I think it both ways are 100% plausible. It just depends on who's running the show.
Yeah.
Now, did you guys see anything about the seeing eye?
No.
No, but I was going to say the aliens. I'm holding that back.
Are you okay?
Because we need to talk about the Montauk boys.
Yes.
Before we can get to the alien connection. And for me, the alien connection is like the bridge
Gotcha.
to all the weirdness. That's just me. But
Excuse me.
Nash, you
I know.
were just mind controlled by the alien.
I was.
On air.
Wow.
All right, great podcasting.
Fun fact.
Change the topic.
What was the CNI or the all CNI?
Okay, so the seeing eye, I got a little blurb here. It says, after Cameron...
Duncan.
I was thinking Cameron Poe, and it shouldn't be Cameron Poe.
That would be a different.
Put the Bonnie back in the box.
Exactly. After Cameron mastered the...
Sorry, Nick Cage, that was terrible.
creating objects, like what you were saying.
Yes,
Now, did we
it
talk
was.
about the creation of the objects, or he's actually creating objects?
Yeah, no, that was the whole with the Montauk chair. They're able to manifest
Right, from nothing.
from his mind.
From his mind. Yeah, it was either like his concentration, if he was deeply into it, he could make things... It was difficult, but he could make something permanent. But most of the time, it was almost ghost-like, where it would appear,
Right,
and then,
fade.
then it would fade away into nothing. I try to do that at home all the time, and it doesn't work. So I'm just saying, I think I can do it. They were saying that after he mastered creating objects with his mind, researchers began experimenting on manipulating the human mind. This continuation of the project was literally referred to as the seeing eye. During the experiment, Cameron was given a lock of hair or an object that was important to a person, and by focusing his psychic energy, he could see and hear everything that the person was experiencing, no matter where they were.
11.
Right? And not
I can
necessarily...
see where the show Stranger Things really was pulling from this story.
Yeah, because
So, what was the time frame on that?
doesn't say.
So that's like you've heard the New World Order, the all-seeing eye at the top of the pyramid on the money is
That's the Illuminati.
yeah.
Right.
So that has nothing to do with this. Like this is just you were using the same term, right? Or is this tied to it or not? I don't know. I'm asking.
I tell you, there's some things I came across that didn't dig too deep. That
Right,
the
right.
Illuminati came up a few times. But I don't think you need to have the Illuminati with all the conspiracy
Right.
with
It's not a big
with
jump.
the reptilians and the government.
Right. Yeah, it's not a big jump. Now that we're kind of connecting all these dots, it's not a big jump from what we're coming across to like things like the Illuminati and whatnot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
the all-seeing eye is not. Like it's just shared terms. It's not intended to be the same thing. That the eye on the pyramid on the money is the same as what he was doing in his mind.
Unless
That's not
it
where
was
it came from. Right?
Unless I didn't come across anything, but it would make sense that he was the all-seeing eye, and those involved with this military project would be the leaders of the Illuminati.
Okay.
Or the funding from the Illuminati. I don't know. That's a stretch, but
Yeah.
I'm not 100% on that. That's just a theory. Just a theory.
All right, so think about Illuminati, people in charge. You know, we have this thing that was one of the big projects they were working on was this Montauk Boys. So what they were doing is they were kidnapping homeless and doing these experiments on. They're really working on mind control. They wanted to
Right.
be able to break down the mind, and once it was at its weakest, be able to inject
Yes.
thoughts and patterns that they could use later.
They were looking they wanted to make these super soldiers, these
Right.
sleeper soldiers. That,
Sleeper agents.
Yeah.
Now, once, because also time travel is part of this. So a lot of the experiments, again, with the homeless, they were kidnapping off the streets
Yeah.
of New York. Once they stopped killing them and their experience were getting a little bit better,
Right.
Right.
they amped up their program, and they were kidnapping runaways and young boys because they were trying to build like an army of these said super soldiers.
Right.
Again, no Marvel copyrights on that one.
No.
Right.
The only super soldier is Steve Rogers, Captain America. But they were torturing these kids, water torture.
They were conditioning them.
They needed to break down. They were doing acid tests. They were inducing. Well, they were giving them like doses of acid. They needed the mind to break so then they can stuff in what they wanted.
Exactly.
Right.
Now they were putting these boys in the Montauk chair, and this is where some of that time travel was coming in. Some of the people that were involved in this reported talking about going and looking and checking out statues.
Statues
In
of
the
a horse.
BC. Yeah, horse statue. And coming back and just giving reports on it.
Right.
So I'm assuming they're like, just, they're like, hey, here's your mission. Just go check out the statue.
Right.
Come back, and then we'll know if maybe you really did it based on what we know about that statue today.
Right.
So they were just sending them back. Now, again, not everybody came back. But one of the kookiest things, that's all kooky. one of the things that interested me was the fact that the people that have come forth that claim they were Montauk boys, they were talking about upwards to 100,000 kids were part of this program. That is a lot of sleeper agents.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it also took place, in the late 70s and early 80s.
Yeah.
So that's old enough that literally, in New York so close to us, we could know a Montauk boy.
Right.
Well,
One of us could be a Montauk boy.
Yeah.
I feel like they started.
Not you.
Right. I feel like they started out getting the homeless boys from their area, and then they realized that everybody's going to know that these kids are disappearing. So they started branching out into the rest of the United States.
Yep.
So that way, these kids now older, they could be all over the place.
And I would imagine that as they perfected the mechanism for breaking them down and training them, it became a quick process. So at first, yes, you're going to notice homeless boys
it's
going
efficient.
Right.
Yeah, they got to nail it down.
But if a kid goes missing for 4 hours,
Right.
they pick him up, and 4 hours later he's back. But now he's a sleeper agent, and you wouldn't know it.
You wouldn't know it. I feel like I read a couple things that, they got to a point where they could go take a kid like in the middle of the night. Nobody would know he's gone.
Right. Yep.
And they would be able to return him back
Before
to
morning.
his bed before morning.
Yeah.
And everything would be done. So
And nobody would believe the story. He would be like, well, it was
Right.
a dream, whatever.
well, and that's the other thing. They would brainwash you so
Right.
that you didn't really know any of this happened to you, but some phrase or code word would be said to you, and then you would switch automatically.
Now,
So-
one of the Montauk boys that came out was this gentleman named, let me get here, Stuart Swerdlow.
Swerdlow.
But he talked about how there was the mental abuse, but also sexual abuse. They really were just trying to break them down. And he said he's been so far in the future, but also back to this BC times. He's experienced that. And he's also, what I found, he had a speech he was given on aliens.
Yeah.
Because that was one of my biggest things, like something with the Montauk chair, some of the experiments. It's just like our technology at the time. Look, my dog's whimpering. I don't know if anybody can hear her. Well, the poor doggy. Where'd Nash go? Nash went to the bathroom, just for anybody listening. Well, speaking of going to the bathroom, why don't we just take a break?
All
Since
right.
Nash just walked away.
I know.
We'll be right back. Nash, what is like the one thing that could go wrong on a paranormal investigation?
Why, Mark? That's the lack of food.
People are putting in their backpack a EMF detector, a flashlight, a digital recorder, but if you forget that snack, your whole evening could be ruined.
That's exactly right.
So, if you head over to mfjerky.com, you can order some delicious beef jerky, and if you use our code SPOOKYJERKY15, you can save 15% on your order, and it's a big savings. That way, when you're out doing an investigation, you're not going to worry about hunger pains. Your stomach's not going to growl and mess up a possible EVP.
Right, right.
And like we like to say here, Moses Family Jerky, the best thing to pack on your paranormal or normal adventure.
Hey there, this is JB, and if you enjoyed Tales from the Crypt, then check out my show, Tales from the Podcast, where myself, and usually a very special guest, sit down to discuss the TV show, the films, the animated series, as well as the original comics. So check me out every other week on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, Google Play, and of course at talesfromthepodcast.com.
Thanks for listening, kiddies. You're all a scream.
And we're back.
Now we're back.
Now we're back. Now you're back.
That's right.
Right.
That's exactly
Help
right.
you feel better.
Oh.
All right, so Dave had a question. We were talking about someone went back, were sent back to their mission was to talk about this horse statue.
Right.
Yep. You had said BC. Dave said, well, that doesn't seem right.
Did I? If I did, I apologize.
You did, or maybe I did.
Somewhere.
It could have been
That's what I heard.
a
There's a BC
combination.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could have been a combination of misinformation,
Yeah.
and Dave picked up on it. It was 6037 AD.
AD.
They claimed they were sent back to just gather some data on this horse statue. Probably, I'm assuming that just to show that, okay, they
Right.
did go to this time period. And
But if it was AD and not BC, what was the horse? Was it like Secretariat or something? Because that's in the future.
Wait, what? Secretariat's like 1900 or something.
What AD?
Why would they have a statue in whatever.
6000 AD.
Not 6,000, 600.
Was it 600 or 6000?
yeah, whatever number I said, I couldn't.
I thought it was I thought it was 6000.
I'm not the best typer in the world.
I thought it was like 6 or 7000 AD.
No,
It was
they
a
were
horse
going
statue
they were
in-
in the past.
AD, bro.
Yeah. What was the number though? 6000?
600
Oh, 600. Oh, okay.
and 37.
Okay, so 1,000 years ago. Okay. Sorry, my mistake.
Did I say 60? 37?
I'm confused. Fun fact. I drank a little too much.
Well, now that we cleared that up.
That's right. But they were sending the Montauk
mud.
boys to the past and to the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were all over the place sending people
and
back.
Mars.
And right.
A lot of these things were also claimed by one of the Montauk boys that has come forward. His name is Stuart Swerdlow.
Yeah.
Now, I really wanted to know, like, a lot of things I was finding on the internet about this. Briefly, somebody would be like, oh, mind control, time travel, aliens. Couldn't find a lot about the aliens. I'm like, but that's the biggest connection. Mm-hmm. Like, we didn't, do all this with the technology we had in the 70s and the 60s.
Right.
And I feel like this time travel, the chair, that's got to be aliens, right? Mm-hmm. That's alien technology. And we learned from the Dulce base, we were working in
Right.
conjunction.
Hand in hand.
All right, so it would seem to reason that, well, on the East Coast, we'd have a base just like Dulce
Right.
base.
Right.
Right? There's probably one they're probably all over the place.
Texas.
Anyway, I found this video of Stuart talking. He was talking about the reptilians. Mm-hmm. So again, probably the masterminds behind a lot of this stuff. And these are all, for me, just fun. I'm going to go through them. These are bullet points I jotted down after watching this video. This video you can find on YouTube. I don't know when it was filmed. It was uploaded, I think, last year or so, but it looks like it was filmed in 4:3, so it could have been filmed early 2000s. Aspect ratio for you guys. You
Yeah.
guys can know. He was talking about these reptilians, and that the reptilians feel they are superior beings. Number one, they also have both sex organs. So
Dave.
why would you point
What?
to Dave?
Oh, no, you're king of the reptilians.
Oh.
I just hang out with them.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay.
And that's why they are superior, because they can always adapt. That they, can reproduce. They don't. Yeah,
They're asexual.
Asexual.
Okay.
Can they reproduce with themselves?
Well, very asexual, yeah.
I don't.
What?
So when you tell a reptilian to go,
F himself.
he's like, I can.
I'm going to go do that right now. I have some time on my hands.
But that would be very limiting to the genetic structure, and they wouldn't really be evolving as fast as the human race is evolving, which is going to end up that's going to be how we're going to beat them. But that's
okay. Now, one thing that Stuart was talking about is the reptilians, when they target people to do the mind control, they go after the Aryan type, the blonde hair, blue eyes, because they're the easiest to control. Now, I have no other. That's what he said.
They're most susceptible.
That's what he said. I
tricks.
don't know why. Go ahead, Dave.
No, just the opportunities left open by that comment are monumental.
We apologize as paranormal punchers to everybody who has blonde hair and blue eyes.
That's what he claims the reptilians.
So sorry.
They target.
But it's not like blonde hair and blue eyes have ever been subverted by a charismatic leader in the past to do things.
That's
right. See?
That was sarcasm, by the way.
Now, he was also talking that the reptilians put the moon in orbit around Earth.
Oh.
What?
Why?
If you have a telescope, Dave,
Yeah.
Stuart claims on a full when there's a full moon,
Okay.
point that telescope at any crater, and you will see activity. You'll see moving lights, craft, and buildings.
Okay.
That is their station. Now, you guys all heard the theory that it rings like a bell, right? Because it's not.
The moon rings like a bell.
You can. There's a whole thing where you can ping it.
What?
What are you talking about? I'm completely lost.
So when
Dave, thank God someone smart's in the room.
when we landed there, we set up mirrors that you can, with a laser from Earth, shoot the laser and have it come back, and you can measure the
distance
reflection
between the two.
from the moon.
Right.
Okay.
The speed of light, the whole nine
They
yards.
did it on the Big Bang Theory. It's a fun little experiment. Has nothing of consequence. I didn't hear about it ringing like a bell.
Whatever. I'm only stating what I found on the internet. Do you think everything is accurate?
Right.
100% accurate online. Yes.
All right. But anyway, he claims if you any full moon, get your telescope out, point it out there.
You can see activity, like civilization activity.
But why does it require a full moon?
Probably at its brightest. Your telescope.
I
can pick up the
feel
most
like it
light.
was like clear sky as well.
Oh, the moon needs to be a full moon.
If the moon is full.
Gotcha. Not I need to
Point
be
your
a full
telescope
moon
at it.
looking at the moon.
I mean, you can choose to do it the way, and I'm assuming
I'm just saying.
you would always do it that way.
Who doesn't really?
Moon's out, buns out.
So I'm not going to hijack this conversation, but I will just say that if what was just said is true, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying if it is true, then I would disagree with the whole concept of the International Space Station and most space exploration, which would then negate the concept of the curvature of the Earth, which would give Flat Earth Society. And then if we're getting Flat Earth, we might as well get Hollow Earth, which is where I go all the time. So it kind of all falls into place. It just,
Well, there is, again, with I mentioned that the bell, there's a theory that the hollow moon hypothesis.
Hypothesis.
I haven't been there. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, there you go. You got a trip to make.
So
Anyway, I'm not done. What he talks about with these reptilians. Now, obviously, we've known that the reptilians have been here before man. They're supposed to be like the ones who
Sort of.
possibly created. Anyway, so at one time, the reptilians colonized 2 continents on Earth. One was known as Lemuria. Have you guys ever heard of that?
no.
Okay.
No.
He claims that one of the remnants of Lemuria that we could see today, if we felt like it, is the redwood trees in California.
Because of the age of the trees themselves.
That and the eeriness of the forest.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, Lemuria sank. Sounds a lot like
Atlantis.
Atlantis.
That sucks. Well, how would we be able to tell the redwood trees associated with Lemuria then, if it sank?
Why are you asking me? Ask Stuart. I should probably get Stuart on the show.
That's a good question. That's a good question.
He can answer all. I'm just saying. I watched this video, and these are things he was concepts he was posing to us.
I want to have a beer with Stuart. I have a lot of questions.
Yeah,
I have a boatload of questions. Anyway, so you take that reptilians now. Duncan, Peter Nichols also talked about aliens at this camp. Preston. Who did I say?
Peter. It's Preston.
I actually have Preston written down. I don't know why he became Peter.
Okay.
That's what the government wants you to say.
Now, Preston Nichols also worked at Camp Hero, and he said, this is a quote, "We had little grays and larger grays as well as a variety of reptilian beings.
Okay.
What?
The large grays didn't want anything to do with me. When I entered a room, they would leave."
Yeah.
Huh. What about the small grays?
Now, I also
They
heard
were like
small
worker
grays were
bees.
manufactured. Yeah. Worker bees. That's a great,
Yeah.
Well, like how small? Like I'm picturing like the little aliens in Men
Close
in Black.
Encounters?
No, the Men in Black, the three little aliens that they were making
the little
coffee all
worm,
the
the little
time.
worm guy.
Hey, Jay.
Yeah.
They're making coffee.
Yeah, I'm like, if those are little grays, like
They're like cool.
I want to hang out with the little grays. The big grays are probably.
I don't
jerks.
think any of the grays are cool, but
Now, did you guys come across where Preston was? Now, see, I didn't know his. I didn't find his total association with the sending the Montauk boys to Mars, but he spoke about it. He said that yes, there had been that it was very, very difficult to send the Montauk boys to Mars, and that there had been a civilization there at one time, and the above. Hold on. They first got to Mars and realized that, yes, there had been a civilization there at one time, and the above ground was crumbled back to dust. So he was involved in some way with sending the Montauk boys to Mars. So I don't know if it was...
they were doing stuff on Mars. Yeah, I got that too.
But if he was the guy who was it the chair that... the dude in the chair who was sending the kids to Mars? What was the progression of, okay, kids, you're the Montauk boys, we're going to do this project, and then they end up at Mars. Was the dude in the chair facilitating them, like creating the portal or something?
Right.
For them to go to Mars?
That's how they were. Yes, because, again, alien technology. So you sit in this chair, maybe I'm wrong, but you sit in this chair and you can teleport your essence, your being,
your consciousness,
to Mars or wherever they want you to go. And then they were doing some work on Mars, doing some experimenting, gathering info to bring back.
or was the dude who was in the chair creating the portal for them to physically go through so they could do
I like
it?
that. So he was sitting there using his super brain power, open, and they walked through again. Like James Spader and Kurt Russell walked through.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
That's where I'm getting confused as well because
It's all confusing, bro.
Oh yeah, but I mean were they physically going to these places,
right,
including the future and the past,
right,
or was it simply an astral projection where they're mentally in tune with their projection in whatever time
Doctor
they are?
Stranging the whole thing?
And if they're doing astral projection, then it shouldn't matter.
It has to be physical. Here's a quote from Stuart. In the early days, as they were perfecting the coordinates, a lot of boys were simply lost.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So
they can't bring them back. They screwed up.
They had to physically send them.
They teleported them somewhere into a concrete pillar somewhere.
Yeah. So it was the Duncan guy who was there, like opening the portal to this.
So then, if it's physical, even if it wasn't physical, regardless of how they're sending it, through time or through space, shouldn't be any different. Like
they're one and the same.
Yeah, so why would it be harder to send them to Mars than it was to send them to 100,000 BC or 6,000
right.
AD?
It shouldn't be anything different.
Right.
Right. It should be all the same.
Yeah.
because time space is all in one unit.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Everybody just collectively pause
So whether it's like 6,000 AD or 100,000 BC
Right.
or to Mars in the current time,
Or
it's-
Mars in the past or Mars in the future.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
It should just be a matter of the dude Duncan sitting in his chair with his lazy boy, drinking a beer and be like, "Hey man, let's try this."
What if, here we go. What if where we say that the sun in so many billions of years is going to start to go into its death throes, and when it does, it's going to expand and it's going to swallow up Mercury, Venus, and Earth, and Mars will be left as a burnt husk of what it is now.
Charred bit.
What if that is, we're doing that by equations that we have now, but what if those equations came about simply because
they were there?
We looked in the future and saw it happen, and by using empirical evidence to get the numbers, we invented equations that
Yes,
mimicked that.
that figured it out, reverse engineered the whole thing.
Yeah.
Right. I'm right there with you. Now, did you guys come across at all about this, like a parallel old universe?
Upside down?
Oh, the upside down? Yeah, is that?
So they came across this. They said it's like a real life kind of a Star Wars thing. That they said,
No,
That's definitely not the upside
That's
down.
a galaxy far, far away.
yeah. Said that according
You
to
just need the chair, bro.
Yeah.
We don't need the Millennium Falcon. We need a chair.
they said that according to Preston Nichols, who was the guy who
This chair did the Kessel Run in 12 parts.
exactly, and the Duncan guy, the dude in the chair was Duncan. I guess they were buds. Alleged researchers with the Project Montauk, after successfully traveling through time and teleporting to other planets, scientists tapped into a parallel universe that would come to be known as the Old Universe, an incredibly chaotic dystopia. That's a tough word for me to say.
You did it.
A chaotic dystopia.
I like utopias more.
Yeah. That has managed to bleed into our dimension, likely through many time tunnels created in Montauk. The Old Universe has also subconsciously influenced much of our popular science fiction. So they're saying that through these...
That's the upside down. That is totally the upside down.
Right. And that's really what they were tapping into when they time traveled, was they were tapping into this other dimension that was bleeding into ours via these time dimensional, because really it's the same thing, these dimensional portals that were tapping into ours.
So you're saying we weren't time traveling.
We were dimensionally...
dimensional jumping.
Yes, that's exactly right. Which could lead to all other things that we've been talking about the pudding skin.
Oh, my God.
Yes, baby! The pudding skin!
How does that lead to the pudding skin?
Because they were forcing the way through the pudding skin to get to these other dimensions via this chair created through alien tech, where there were other spots.
Dave, do you buy that?
But where did the aliens come from? How did they get this technology?
They came from who knows where. That's not my bag. I'm just saying.
Well,
I'm
we
just
should have an episode on that then.
Did you say? Would you say alien?
Where did the aliens come from? How did they...
he keeps talking about food and pudding skin. I thought you said, where did the alien yums come from? I was like, man, he's converted you now to talking
Alien
about
yums. Wow.
Where's the alien yums?
Yeah.
That's a new
Alien yums.
a new snack coming from Paranormal Project.
Alien
yums.
Nice.
Scooby snacks.
You might see them on our store here soon. But there's also a thing that says...
just for listeners, Lish has her hand on her temple, and
Yeah, I've been silent for about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Just letting you guys go.
Just letting it go.
Yeah.
Because that led to... I also have a thing about the hole. It says the hole in hyperspace led to a big problem for the Montauk Project. So that is a culmination of what we're talking about these portals being opened, not through time, but through dimension. And there could be... You could end up a couple different... Maybe they thought it was time they were jumping to, but it was to another
is
dimension.
that how we get with this hole? Is that how we get like things like Bigfoot and other cryptids? These are creatures from other dimensions
Let it happen.
that are able to find.
Yes.
I'm going to say it. They're able to find the pudding skin.
Yes.
Where the wall between dimensions is so thin, they cross over some hunter sees it,
Yes, I'm telling you.
and now we have this.
That's what leads to the pudding spin. But the pudding
spin?
The
the
spin.
spin, the pudding spin.
They're spinning the
That's a
pudding
little
spin.
different. That's
Yep. And
something we
remember,
don't talk about.
from if you keep extrapolating what Nash is saying,
What'd you just say?
there is no concept of time because the interdimensional rifts occur between dimensions. They don't occur between time. So it may be that the universe
thought it was time,
where
but it's not.
Frank came from was actually only 500,000 years old, and he was one of the first organisms that ever was in his dimension. But for us, he's coming to us 13 billion years after our Big Bang. And who knows what other things. Like, we could be getting interdimensional rifts to things that are so far in the future, but to our future. Their future was that they just existed for longer. And, yeah, I mean, that's how we're getting alien tech.
Right.
Because they've existed for longer, but the longer wasn't in our dimension.
We think it was longer, but it wasn't. It really
They
wasn't.
actually, from our perspective, they're just as old as we are.
Correct. Now, the one thing that we just radar, we are off.
I like turtles.
But the one thing
Liz, we got to kick it back. She's just shaking her head at us. We got to kick it back over here.
Okay, so maybe we should bring this back to the actual topic here. All right, guys.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
I know. Yeah.
We don't need topics.
So they were opening up all these different rifts underneath underneath New York City and all that
But
kind
not
of
just
stuff.
underneath, all around.
Okay. Well, okay, Dave. No. Just stop. So there were some scientists that were they were not happy with what was happening. They were afraid we were doing too much, and they said we need to stop this. So what they ended up having Duncan Cameron do is when he was in the chair, they were like, we need to stop this. So he envisioned a large, angry, powerful Sasquatch-like creature.
the beast.
Yeah.
Cthulhu?
He
Cthulhu.
envisioned this beast at the exact moment that things were going down.
Yeah.
The beast materialized at Montauk and began destroying the base in a rage.
Wow.
Tearing stuff up.
Yeah, he tore it all up.
Demogorgon.
Yes. All
No,
of the
actually,
above.
I
Yes.
read he fell asleep in the chair
Oh, I didn't know
and
that
had a
one.
nightmare, and that's what manifested.
What?
I imagine Duncan would have some pretty serious nightmares too, considering
Right?
what he's been
what he's
involved in.
seen, what he's done.
Right.
So as soon as the equipment that was harnessing the people's psychic power was destroyed by this beast, the beast disappeared. And the time tunnels, they collapsed upon themselves. Yeah.
Because he was basically the source of these time tunnels.
Right. And that's kind of, I guess, theorizing, that's when they decided to shut down the base and everything.
Right.
But,
The only way to shut down the monster, they had to start smashing equipment, cutting cables. They had to take the system down.
Right.
And that was the only way to stop the creature, and that was like the end of the base.
Yeah. Yeah, so obviously the Montauk Project was at a point of no return. Everything had been destroyed. So
we're led to believe.
yes, exactly. We'll get to that. The young psychics that were housed there and they were brainwashed so that they wouldn't remember what all happened. They wouldn't be able to repeat anything that happened. And then the scientists and some of the general workers that were there, they swore oaths of secrecy. Obviously, not everybody is keeping that oath, but
Once you get to a certain age, you don't really care.
Man, that
Right,
is
right.
like, so
yeah. So the base was abandoned, but some people claim that there's minimal activity that still goes on there to this day.
Dave.
okay. Oh my God, I have so many things to say right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start with the monster.
Right.
Okay, what if they say that you can't invent new faces in a dream, that you only remember what you've had? So what if he had been in an alternate dimension, alternate timeline, alternate whatever, had seen these creatures, but maybe they were peaceful. But in his nightmare, they weren't.
Right.
And he manifested something that has nothing to do with the actual thing. And that's what attacked the base.
Right.
And so now we're thinking that these things are evil when they're actually not. I mean, that's, okay, one thing. Two, oh man, I just lost my train of thought.
So what if when these portals were open and he's envisioning these things, okay, and that he saw them anyway,
Right.
Who's to say the portal was designed to be set up to be two-way? It wasn't a one-way trip. It was a two-way trip. So who's to say whoever came back, or while the one-way trip was set up, that something else didn't come back? And that's how he came up with that image.
Right.
That's how he came up with that information.
Yep.
Was that what came back was something from that dimension,
Right.
that fit those parameters, that is now we gave it a name like Sasquatch or the skunk ape or the
Right.
Wendigo
Yep.
or
Right.
something along those lines that could have actually fed into. I mean, the timeline is a little more recent than some of the stories that we've come across.
Yep.
But who's to say that stuff isn't here now?
That was the other thing I wanted to say. Is so
there you go.
the we're talking about people haven't followed those orders of don't talk about this.
Right.
Fight Club.
But
Like Preston Nichols and Alfred Bielik.
What if? I mean, the way you want to control this is to actually leak information about it. You would do it in a contained way of saying what you want to say, not necessarily what actually happened.
Right, right,
So what if all of these people are actually still following orders?
right.
And they're saying exactly what we're supposed to hear.
Yeah, thank you. Because one thing that the Montauk Project was working on was mind control.
Correct.
But I'm talking global mind control.
Right.
Do you think possibly, maybe in a way you would never, ever expect it, they actually achieved it?
Right.
I'm talking the smartphone with Facebook.
Why not?
People are so consumed. They literally believe everything that is on Facebook, and people have Facebook
Lord,
fights.
yeah.
Right.
People drive down the road in a car that is a murder machine. This thing can kill
It's a
anybody
it's
it
a
runs
missile.
into. Yet people are driving, they're on their phone, probably
Right.
on Facebook.
Right.
They're so consumed. They feel compelled to always be on social media, looking at these things, listening to these things. The fights. People intentionally pick fights.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
With no like facts. They just want to fight. It's almost a way to keep us distracted from what the reptilians are. The reptilians. What is really going on behind the
Yep.
scenes?
So, because one of the things that I had come across was that it was a question. It says, is Montauk still in operation?
Right.
My gut says yes, in kind of a covert way, because when in the 70s, when the Montauk Project was happening and the Montauk Boys and all of that, they were saying that there was a large mind wiping, that's really why the radar is there, is to continually mind wipe the residents so they're clean, and they're saying no, nothing is happening, but they need to have that continual feed happening in their area to completely say, no, this is not happening. We don't remember any of this, because their minds are completely wiped due to them being able to harness these mind control abilities and mind altering abilities from this radar.
Yeah. I have some conspiracy theorists. Yeah. They claim that the stuff that happens in Montauk still to this day, it helped inadvertently crash the TWA Flight 800.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
That it crashed off the coast of Long Island in 96.
Yep.
They believe that, Montauk had something to do with that whole situation.
But why?
I don't know. They were probably doing an experiment. And it just-
inadvertently.
Yeah,
kind of
inadvertently did this. But, and then also in 2008, a creature washed up to the short.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It is now called the Montauk Monster.
Yep.
But it didn't have any hair on it. It kind of looked like a mammal, but with a bird's beak. It looks really weird. If you look at the pictures.
It's supposed to be like a decomposing raccoon.
That's what
right?
they want you to think it is the decomposing raccoon, or a turtle that doesn't have its shell.
Wow. Yeah, that would look pretty weird, right?
Right.
Now, there was a picture of that, but my question had to do with, they said that the nose and whatnot was decomposed, so you
Yeah.
saw the teeth.
Yeah.
But there were other body parts still on the creature that had not decomposed, that were of the same material.
Yeah.
That the nose and because your nose is made up of cartilage and muscle,
Right.
but there was other cartilage and muscle. But that little sucker looked pretty mean.
Yeah. They want you to think that it's a decomposing raccoon, but obviously, well, they're saying like the ocean, took all of its hair off,
Right.
or whatever.
Right.
But you would have the flesh. You would get bloated, and
Yeah, I know.
and if
something in the water doesn't.
Look
look,
at are you looking at the picture now?
I'm looking at the picture
Oh my
now.
god, it's just so bizarre looking.
Yeah, and things that are like this don't survive in open water because there are things that are called
Oh, yeah.
sharks and other things that
Right.
are scavengers that eat dead meat, and this thing has dead meat on it.
Yeah.
Yes, it doesn't really have a nose. It has a beak kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But it has ears, earlobes. It has everything that would be there except for a nose. So how
Yeah.
could it be a decomposing raccoon?
I don't know. And there are a lot of people that think that Montauk was also doing some genetic fiddling with things.
Right.
And so they believe that maybe the Montauk Monster is from them. Or I guess there's a animal disease center that's near there.
Okay.
And they think that maybe it came from there. I don't know. But
Now, I don't know if we touched upon this, but did we talk about the Eldridge?
yeah, the Philadelphia experiment.
Yeah, because but the ship that was not related to the Montauk project that was developing its own invisibility and cloaking
Yes,
technology
yes.
that was interfering with Montauk.
I don't know if it was. There was a connection between the two experiments, like a time
Yeah.
thing that was going on. I didn't want to.
That it was messing with time tunnels
Yeah.
and whatnot. But I mean, the way I envision the whole timetable on this is that Montauk stumbled upon this whole mind-altering thing that they came across, and be able to mind control and do the time tunnels, through the help of alien assistance. But that kind of dwindled and came to an end. So the only other frontier that they had to dive into was, like what you were saying, Alicia, was genetic research and kind of tinkering with
Yeah.
a different ballpark altogether. And that's what I'm thinking, that's what led to the Montauk Monster, was that
Yeah.
they were like, okay, well, we can't do this anymore because we kind of saw how this played out. So what if we start messing with things and creating more hybrids or things along those lines?
Yep. So that one of the things you said there, the concept of being able to see the future.
Yep.
So was that future predestined? Like that's the future that had to be,
Right.
or was it future that could be changed? And if it's a future that could be changed, well, any little change can change the future.
Butterfly effect.
Right. So what was the purpose of them going to the future? Either it was predestined and they couldn't change it, so they only knew what was going to happen, or they could change it, but then if they're changing it, every little thing
Right.
would cause it to be completely different.
See, I think that the future things was just to check the result.
But you'd have to check every variable. For
Do you know
that.
what I mean?
Like, you don't know how small of an effect.
Right.
Oh, you saw a napkin on the floor and decided to take one step right. Did that change the future?
Well, right.
Or not? You don't know.
The only way you would know by sending somebody to the future.
Exactly.
Or by altering something 10,000 years ago in the past.
Yeah.
You send somebody to the future to verify the result. And if it wasn't verified, and that's fine, that's cool. If there was no effect.
Yep.
So let's do this.
So my guess is that that touches in it as well. Like, could you change the past, or could you just observe the past? So if you went back into the past and you killed baby Hitler, it obviously we're still in a time when Hitler rose to power, so it didn't work. Did they try that? I don't know.
But that could be. But then you could take that one step farther and say, did they say, yeah, okay, yes, let's. What was it? The last Avengers movie. Let's stop baby Hitler, and then they go back to the current and into the future and see the result, and they say, wait a minute, no, maybe as horrible as it sounds, we needed this to happen.
Right.
So they stopped the whole process.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah. That's
the timey-wimey. That's a different. That bakes your noodle kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Woo. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to take a bath. Get this conspiracy theory all off of me.
Just time travel.
Now,
yeah.
Even that, but kind of just to wrap it up, we've been yammering for a while.
No. We've been intelligently having a discussion.
That's right. That's exactly right.
It's widely known. They use the word conspiracy theory. Any facts? I don't know if they're out there. Stuart Sledwell. He
Slogniski.
Yeah, no, that's not right.
Oh.
He's out there. He does speeches. He's got a website. It would be very interesting to talk to him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I found it very fascinating. Again, I always love when something like this bleeds into the world of entertainment, and a couple dudes called the Duffer Brothers. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It gives them an idea to make an amazing show. Like, that's super cool. I also believe that we're not given all the information about what the government's really up to, and I probably are working with aliens. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
They could be plants.
Right.
Plausible deniability.
Right. I mean, even to that effect, what if the information we've been given is designed such that a podcast like ours is designed to have a conversation just like this, to spread the information that they want us to spread?
Are we Montauk boys?
We might be.
Uh-oh.
Mark.
So, one thing we need to discuss, so we mentioned earlier, like the whole concept of Jason Bourne.
Right.
So these guys are being programmed to be super soldiers, and any minute, I was watching a show called The Dark Tapes. It was all about this, but they had referenced Dark Files. Dark Tapes is a great found footage movie.
Yeah.
Dark Files is a show from the History Channel about this.
Okay.
They referenced a couple times the Manchurian Candidate.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
Where you could have somebody and then that one code word triggers him and he goes into action.
Yeah.
What's your code word, Dave?
I haven't found that yet.
Hops. Oh, man. Nash is dead. Shouldn't have said hops. I don't know. That's weird.
I can tell you it's not the phrase from Captain America.
What was that one?
I don't remember. What was it? Baron Zemo was like the thing to set off Winter Soldier.
Set off Winter Soldier, yeah. Something about the train.
Yeah.
And
that's not it. Because I was able to watch that movie twice with no problems.
Yeah, it can't be something simple as somebody that says hops because you would already murdered everybody at every pub you've ever been to.
Right.
As soon as you're like, I could really taste the hops in this thing.
Time to kill.
I don't know. Pretty bizarre stuff. Pretty interesting. Do your own research on it.
Yeah.
Again,
So much there.
So much there, yeah.
Whether you believe it or not, it's probably trademarked.
Maybe. Just maybe.
Whatever. It's interesting. It does kind of lend itself to other things we discussed, like the Dulce base and the silent. What was that place in Mexico? The Zone of Silence.
Right.
There's a lot of weird military bases underground.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like the potential for them to all be connected and all be doing the nefarious things is, I can believe it, yeah.
I do find it a little odd that we come across, in our vast experience, is that we come across these sections of the country or the world where there's so much, and it's buried underground in some base somewhere, that there's so much there that you could spend so much time talking about it, and the information that you come across, every cul-de-sac you go down is just a rabbit hole that you could dive into for so many different subjects.
Let's hope you don't meet the bunny man.
Yeah, and it's just there's just that frequency of that happening now. It's happening more and more and more. So I don't know. It's just something to be said.
If you think this is fascinating, I recommend the Dark Files.
The Dark Files.
We rented it on Amazon. It was like $1.99 or something, $2.99. I can't remember. Totally worth it. It was about this guy. He lived in Montauk. Heard about all this growing up. And just couldn't let it go. I mean, he'd been researching it for a good chunk of his life. It was very fascinating.
And there's a book, Montauk Chronicles, that was written by Preston Nichols, I believe.
Okay.
Ooh, he was the dude in the chair.
Yeah, so not in the chair.
That was Duncan Cameron.
Yeah, that was,
Preston was an engineer, right?
He was the
he was an engineer, but anyway, if you want more information, might as well go to the source, right?
Go to the source, make your own decision.
Yep, that's right. So was Preston the source of Murray and
Bill F.
Stranger
Preston,
Things?
Esquire.
Nice pull. I've been trying to do that for a little while now. There's something odd at the Circle K or 7-Eleven or whatever it is.
You guys, wasn't his name Preston, the engineer? You just said his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was he the basis for Murray in Stranger Things?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I never looked that deep into it. Murray was played by
I don't know who it was played by, but the
Paul Reiser.
no. Murray was the paranoid. Everybody's out to get us.
Oh, that guy.
Oh, you know what?
I don't know what his name
in the
is.
Dark Files. Preston, his house. It was Preston, right?
Yeah.
There was a dude just walking around on his property wearing a tin pot on his head.
Yeah.
So
There was some
and
bizarre-
in the documentary, they're
That would
like,
make sense.
like no better way to kind of like discredit, everything he says when you have such weirdness happen on his property.
Right.
The government probably loves the fact that, his place was really strange. I highly recommend it. It's totally worth
Yeah.
the purchase, and I think we own it. I just thought we were buying that episode, or renting that episode.
Yeah,
but
I think we bought
for
it.
sure, $1.99. We own
Bought
it.
the whole thing.
Nice.
Yeah. Woo! You guys ready to move on?
Yeah.
Ready to cleanse
Oh, yeah.
the conspiracy right off of our butts?
know.
That is something different.
As I said, we have a few more listener feedbacks. I emailed Lish. You got
Yep,
one? Nash,
I
did you get it? That way I don't have to read them all? Mm-hmm. Did you check in your email, bro?
Let me check my email. Hold on here.
Well, I'll kick it off.
Oh, look, there it is. Right there.
You got one?
Yep.
I'll kick it off with bum, 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 bum. We heard again from our buddy Chromos. Hey, guys. Yes, I said it that way. He had that in parentheses. I pointed you guys to the Black Knight documented thing, but did you also know the government did some odd testing with nukes and had Russia helping?
What?
It was called Operation Fishbowl.
Ooh.
I'll send you a link, but really read it and try to imagine what they're doing and how many times they did it, and then look at the dates, the Operation Starfish Prime, and why the Prime tag on it. So the government was, I looked at it briefly. Sorry, Cromwell, I couldn't really dig into it because I had so much to dig into with this
Right.
topic. They were like testing high-altitude nuclear explosions. Think about that. And apparently it caused a belt of radiation, like a force field around the Earth. It lasted a good 5 years. That's kind of interesting. But then he wondered, like, how we go to the moon when they created a belt of radiation like a force field around the Earth. Because this took place in... gotta get
1962.
Thanks, Dave.
I'm reading about it right now.
Nice.
But it's so weird. It took out a few satellites and stuff. But so were they? If you want to get really weird, were we putting a force field around the Earth in that time period on purpose?
Isn't that the Men in Black 3? Tommy Lee Jones had the thing that put the protection around the Earth.
Oh,
for
right.
other
The
aliens.
the network. Right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
If you want to look it up yourself,
That's what I'm doing right now.
Dave's totally doing it. Go check it out. Operation Fishbowl.
Yeah.
God, it just sounds like they're trying to create a force field around the planet.
Exactly.
Just the name alone. But do your research. And we heard from Will. Can't wait for this one. What's up, Will? He said, "Hey, guys." And yes, Mark said it right.
Wow. Wow.
It's me again. First, keep up the good work. Y'all are amazing. Second, when I read the title of the last episode, I had a bit of a fangirl moment, and I'm not a girl. But this happened because I'm a huge supernatural fan, and that's the first monster they hunt in episode 1. That would be the Wendigo. Will's a huge fan of the Wendigo. But I have to say the best part of the show was that I'm still not completely sure that Nash wouldn't eat another person. And I'm pretty sure that there's at least a 60 to 40% chance he'd eat them if they were made into sausage.
Oh, jeez.
Keep up the good work and hurry up with the next episode, LOL. I already can't wait, and it's only been a day since I listened to the last one.
Oh.
Thanks, Will.
Yeah.
Nash, you're getting quite the reputation.
I guess.
The sausage percentages were too low.
Oh, that's like you're saying it's like a 99.9?
Yeah.
Well, it all has to do with if I knew there was sausage to begin with. That's it. That's basically what it boils down to. If I knew it was human people sausage, no way. But if somebody just handed me a sausage and like, here's a taco brat,
yeah.
I'd be like, oh, this is nice. That's a weird taste, but I guess it's okay.
No, I'm pretty sure you'd be like, this is the best sausage I've ever
Yeah,
had.
I'd be like, wow, this is different. This is really
And
unique.
I think I skipped over this listener feedback earlier from Addy Drowned,
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
formerly known as Ben Drowned. But he did say, how many Wendigos did we have in previous centuries by just eating humans for survival?
That's what I'm talking about.
No, but is there a record to show that we were just that humans were eating each other
I
for
know.
survival?
Well, we have a bunch of different times when people were killing and eating other people. That's what we touched on in the episode. That the dude here in Pennsylvania who was killing people and turning them into sausage and feeding them to the patrons.
don't think
Matthias Schombaum.
Yeah, I don't think he was doing that just because he was hungry. I think he was doing that because he was a little killer.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, he had to
Yeah,
eat
but
something.
it didn't say that he was eating them. He
Well-
was just making money. He was selling it to travelers.
Well, he had to eat something. Just saying.
He might have had his own private stock.
Of human sausage?
No, of normal things.
Normal sausage?
Just put in the oven. Yeah.
Maybe. Who knows? But that I agree with that 100%.
That you would eat somebody for the sausage?
That throughout history that people were eating other people. Maybe they were infected with the Wendigo psychosis. That's what led them to eat other people.
Are there records beyond like the Donner Party where like back in medieval times we're like, oh well, it's gonna eat this dude? Is there any evidence to?
Not that I have those records in my other pants. I didn't wear them today. I'm so sorry.
Dave?
I'm pretty sure that at no point was eating another human a like normal act.
Right.
Like, oh well, I'm just going to do this.
But in desperate times,
In desperate times, I'm sure it happened a lot. Especially like you talk about the sieges of castles when we're just going to siege them for months, if not years. All the food runs out. We're going to send diseased cows through catapults. They're going to start eating each other to.
they have to survive
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
Right. We're sending diseased cows through catapults?
Yeah.
God, it reminds me of Monty Python's.
Yeah. But the at the same time, I'm sure there were people who were, not necessarily mentally all here or whatnot. That that's where necromancers come from, type of thing.
And stories about like trolls under the bridges who are reaching up and grabbing people who are passing by, bringing them down and eating them. Mm-hmm. That's where they could
So
come
you
from.
think it's not trolls, it was just somebody like you that got a taste.
Wow. Wow.
I mean, not like you. I mean,
Thank you.
Yeah.
But somebody who was desperate in that situation to where they needed food and there were people walking by and they were starved and said, hey, there's a nice steak.
Yep.
Would it be easier to eat like a wolf or a dog?
You got to catch
You have
those.
to catch them. Like humans have a different.
They're not tough. Humans are not. I would imagine that humans are not tough to catch.
Good save.
Yeah, like that. That was nice.
It's not a good save at all. You're like, I imagine they're not tough to catch and kill, is what you're about to say, right?
No. Before that, he said they're not.
They're not. They're not. I imagine that they're not.
Oh, yeah, good save. Now I'm with you, Dave.
But like wild animals have the instinct to run and sense fear and things like that. Humans don't have that.
Yeah. Especially to another human.
Yeah.
You see somebody on a bridge, you're just going to, you're going to be a little defensive. Like, why is this guy just standing on the bridge? But you're not a deer who's just going to run. You're not a wolf who's going to growl at it and see what happens.
And you're not going to assume that dude's going to kill me and eat me.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we're a civilized society. It doesn't happen.
Right.
Well, but Will thinks there's a 60 to 40% chance. As long as it's
well,
a
Will, I'll be seeing you soon.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
With a nice Chianti.
What kind of show are we doing today?
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
All right. Well, we're going to. Thanks, Will. Hope you're doing well.
For now.
Avoid Nash at all costs.
And keep doing so in the future.
Yeah. We heard from Meg. Now, Meg's up in Canada. We're going to toss this to Nash, Hannibal Lecter, to read.
That's right. Let me finish my Chianti. Hold on. Hey, guys. And it says, in parentheses, in Mark's voice.
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys. Yes, so happy you guys decided to cover the mysterious Wendigos. As I always have been saying that wrong. Oh my gosh! As someone who's from the Great, the
Great? Oh my God! Up in the Great Northwest.
Great White North.
You definitely eat people.
Yeah. From British Columbia, I've heard many stories about these creepy humanoid creatures, and are a big paranormal part of some First Nations band cultures. I don't know if First Nations is a group. I'm unclear on that.
That could have First Nations land culture. Maybe it was a typo.
I don't know.
Where's the B and the L on the keyboard?
Yeah, exactly. From what I understand, how a person becomes a Wendigo is that if they eat the flesh of another human being, and when the person dies, they are cursed to walk the earth as a Wendigo forever, cold, hungry, and alone. And why they say in cold places, a.k.a. the mountains, the frozen areas, whatever, and are made of ice, is that because they are essentially a rotting vessel, so they need to stay frozen to stay, together. I still don't quite understand the whole possession part of them, though. Because they are basically demons that are like dead. Because they are basically demons and are like dead, would think that maybe instead of staying in real tangible form, they could find a person and possess them instead of eating them. To create more Wendigos because they are lonely. A part of humanity that leaks through, perhaps? Who knows? Since Wendigos are essentially people who have been cursed, a part of the real person could still be trapped inside them. That's weird. That's creepy. If you could see an interesting depiction of a Wendigo, you
suck.
I do suck.
I love you. I'm just joking.
If you want to see an interesting depiction of a Wendigo in the game Until Dawn, do what I think is really cool and take them on. They're super scary.
The game Until Dawn did what I think was really cool. A really cool take on them. Super scary.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You're like,
have a few
do what I think is cool and take them on.
Take them on, baby.
Fight them.
Yeah. Anyways, just want to say that this was probably one of my favorite episodes you've ever done. As well as Robert the Doll. OMG, he's creepy. He's creeping me out. Keep up the amazing work and can't wait to hear what you guys come up for the next episode. Much love, Megan. P.S. Pudding skins.
Meg, I hope you're doing all right up there in Canada.
Yeah.
I imagine that's the last time you send an email to us.
Oh, my gosh.
Nash butchered that like a weird traveler.
Yeah, wow. I had the first half down. But
So bad.
funk fact, have another beer.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Thanks, Meg.
Yep.
Sorry about that, Meg.
No, it was fun. You did good. And last one here, we heard from Christina at Mrs. Red Show. She has a really funny story.
All right. Okay, funny doll story for you. My oldest daughter had a sing and snore Ernie, and we happened to get the one that had a short in it. No one would even be near it, and you would hear, "I feel great." So after it freaked my daughter out, I just put it in the closet. It was quiet for months, and then one night, and it just so happened to be the night we watched the X-Files episode about a killer doll, about 1 a.m. we hear, "I feel great," about 3 times in quick succession coming from the closet. So some background information, she was staying at her parents' house. Her dad is a career military, and he had an impressive gun collection. So I yell for Dad. By the time I've grabbed my bat and turned the lights on, he's standing in the door with a handgun. As we reach for the closet, the damn doll starts giggling and talking again. Dad looks at me, trains his gun on the closet, tells me to open the door and get out of the way. If that SOB is sitting up, I'm blowing it away. Of course, it wasn't. We didn't have to murder Ernie, but we did make sure all the wires were disconnected. The entire time I'm tearing this poor doll apart, Dad's standing guard like he's going to pop up and kill me or something. We laughed our butts off at ourselves for a long time after that. Unfortunately, my oldest girl is still terrified of dolls, especially ones that talk and make noise. And she's 23.
Wow.
I love it.
I know, right?
Thanks, Christina.
I would be in fits to hear something out of the blue come through. I feel great.
Yeah.
We were at Mood Dog the other day having a beer, and I was showing Lish this email that came in. I was like, this is the kind of stuff I think would be fun to do, like a Paranormal Punchers reenactment. We'll film this.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
This is hilarious. Could you imagine watching a little YouTube 2-minute video of her dad getting ready to blow this doll away? I think that'd be hysterical.
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much for sending in your feedback, your stories, your topic ideas.
Oh, yeah.
We love it all. ParanormalPunchers.com. That's how you can reach us. You can find all the info about us. You can find our store. You can find ways to contact us.
You could find sausage.
Do it?
What?
The government's already on its way.
Right.
Yeah. If this is the last transmission from Paranormal Punchers,
It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah. It was
been
fun.
real.
It's been fun while it lasted.
that was a super fun topic. Very strange. Not normally what we do, because that was like, for me, that was like a boatload, a shit ton, as they say, of conspiracy theory.
All over the place.
But I don't know, man. Like echoes of Dulce bass and things like that. I'm like, I'm not going to say it's all BS, because I'm like, it's possible they have an underground base.
Yeah.
Right.
It's possible they're doing some weird stuff. It's not the first time they admitted to experimenting on human beings.
Yep.
So I don't know. Again, I'll stand by the fact that, hey, if it inspired Duffer Brothers to make Stranger Things, that's pretty awesome.
Yep.
And I bet you the Duffer Brothers would say, if it's not weird,
It's not worth checking out.